It's another interesting and insightful episode of Behind Reality podcast where we discuss matters that affect every Nigerian. And today we are talking about something that is very important as from elections to party politics to central governance, there seems to be a gap between all of these and the Nigerian youth. My name is Betty Do, and today on the show, I've got with me a comrade in every sense of it, a journalist, an hospitality specialist, and a politician to discuss this very pertinent issue on the show today. I have with me Comrade Rasheed Akogun, who would be having this discussion with me today. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so straight to the point, do you think the choir youth are actually ready for the 2027 election?
Well, there is this popular adage that says before you know where you're headed, you must understand where you're coming from. Since the inception of the state in 1967, there has never been a time, either under the military administration or civilian governance, that we've not had youth playing active role. When Kwara State was created, the first military administrator of the state was relatively and comparatively young. He was below 40 when he governed the state. And outside that, we've had a governor in this state that assumed office at the age of 39, and that's Dr. Bukola Sarasaki. So the youth of Kwara have always actively participated in party politics, in opposition politics, in governance, and in agitation and policy formulation, and what have you. However, there is this growing tendency that needs to be arrested. And what is that? The youth only come out to support established names and brands. Oftentimes, they don't come out to say, if Mr. A can do it, Mr. B can do it. Now, we have Gen Zs that things that their parents that are more exposed, more educated, and what have you, can't do with gadgets. Gen Zs can do it. And if that kind of know-how and expertise is brought to bear in governance, definitely the youth would do it better. Now, like the Yorubas do say, Omodegbo, Agbagbo, Lafido to fair. We're not saying the elders should vacate the space, but we are saying the elders should accommodate the youth, and it is very fundamental. The Yorubas would say, Ogun tí a kò bá fi mọ ọmọ, ó mọ́ ń parun ni. Because if you keep it a secret from your children, once you are no more, it dies with you. So the good that you do, bring in the youth, let them learn on the job. So once you vacate the space, they will do it better. Now, power is not served a la carte. You need to stand up, show that you have all it takes to assume leadership and ensure you play your part.
I like that you mentioned that because you said power is not served. You have to actually strive for it. Now, looking at the current reality, because you mentioned that youth are actively involved, but if you look at the level or the number of people that are actively involved, number of young people that are actively involved, and the population, the total population of young people, won't you say that it is relatively low? Because if you ask the average young Nigerian today if they are passionate about politics, many of them will tell you no, because all they're concerned about is making money, and they just tell you, oh, I'm not interested. If you ask them, oh, do you have your voter's card? Are you willing to vote? They don't seem to be interested in any of this or even running for political offices, right? So what would you say is the barrier to this, or what would you say has caused this among the young people? Is it lack of money, or is it party structure, or would you say that it's something else? What exactly would you say are the barriers that have led to this among the young people?
Well, I would answer your question with this practical experience. I'm a mass communication lecturer.
Okay.
I conducted a research 2 years ago. That is it that the youth are not interested in governance, or there's just this break in communication gap and trust between the youth population, which constitutes almost 60 to 70% of the total population, and the ruling elite. Now, the results of the research was unraveling. Virtually all youth are interested in governance, but majority of them are not interested in politics. How do you have governance without politics? And you can do a quick survey on the social media for every day. If you if you have 10 posts on a daily, you would realize that 8 or 9 of such posts has something to do with governance. Either the government is doing this, they ought to have done this, the government is not doing this. Oftentimes, that is what shapes our commentary. But when they talk about party politics, they say, no, 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 I don't want to be a in fact, some people see it as derogatory to be called a politician. Now, that is the main issue. Governance, government is a byproduct of party politics under any democracy. And a clear example is before the general elections, the decisions on who will govern us has already been made. Because according to the Electoral Act, there is no provision for independent candidacy. So it is only those that political parties are pushing up. It is amongst them that we would pick from. Now, how do the candidates from the political parties emerge? Most of them, it is through party participation. It is only members of the party that picks candidates. So, judging from that, the choices of the average youth that are only interested in governance are streamlined. So, if the political parties are throwing up average candidates and you have citizens with better quality, know-how, network, and what have you, but since they were never part of the political system, they don't have a chance of even pushing themselves forward and getting on the ballot. So the youth are interested in governance, but they hold with content party politics. So I think we need to show interest in party politics. That I joined party politics actively in 2007, and I can tell you that I've learned a whole lot. And without mincing words, the realities of today about governance and what have you is the direct result of the kind of people that holds the party structure at the local level. Without wanting to sound derogatory or disrespectful, majority of those that hold the party structure at the ward level are artisans, are illiterate and semi-illiterate. So from the word go, their choices are influenced by their level of exposure, education, and worldview. So if these are the people that will form the party delegates that would elect the candidates, then you know they will elect a candidate that aligns with their own worldview and not with the worldview of you that you are exposed, you are well traveled, you are educated. So from the selection process at the party level, we have issues. And that is a reality that we all must come together, analyze, and find a way of getting involved, not to sustain and perpetuate the the well discussed issues about party politicking, bribery, the highest bidder of it, and what have you. To us actually walking our talk. If you are saying this thing is bad, then let us get involved and show workings.
Okay, now brings me to my next question. You made mention about ISP there. Now, to the average young person in Nigeria who is still trying to get their feet in life but has a passion to be in politics, they get to a party, but they get there and are unable to actually afford the payments for ballots to be nominated, party tickets to. So, how do they actually get involved when it's actually not even affordable for them to do so?
Well, I have a principle. If you can think it, you can achieve it. And I'll give you my own practical example. I aspired to represent Shari Okede state constituency at the House of Assembly in the last election.
Okay, here in Kwara State.
Yes. When I was done consulting, the first thing that people were asking me, can you afford to throw millions of naira away? Now, I'm a poor journalist. I don't know any other thing outside journalism, so I don't have even 1,000 to throw away. But I knew I must ensure that all those things I've preached all my life, I bring it to reality. And I realized that when we say money politics, on a dailies, we all spend our money based on our priorities. In economics, there's something we call scale of preference, and there's something we call alternative for God. Human wants are insatiable. So there would never be a time that you have everything in life that you need. If the biggest money you ever aspire to have is 1,000,000 naira and you have fantasy about it, once you receive a lot of 1,000,000, you realize that you actually need more than 1,000,000 because your consumption would increase. Now, how do we practicalize it? I aspired. I was contesting against money bags. But you see, we the youth, we seem not to realize the importance of contact and network, which has been afforded us by our exposure, we are well traveled, our social capital, and the kind of family we've built via the social space, where I don't need to personally have 5 million to spend 5 million. There are several platforms. GoFundMe, even those that you've never met, can contribute to your idea if you have something unique that resonates with them. For my primaries, yes, you need to practically pay for everything within the party. You buy form, you mobilize stakeholders, you host stakeholders, you give them honorarium, and you give them all those things. But if you run away from all those things, then all your ideas would die astray. So if you can't beat them, join them to change the narrative. And I can say for a fact, I had 40 delegates that would determine who got the ticket. The so-called money bag that I was contesting against said it would give the delegates 10,000 naira each. And I told him I will give them 20,000 naira each. So they will vote for me. Now it's a money bag. He has the money. But it was harder for him to solely bankroll himself. But I have friends, I have contacts, they contributed. So it wasn't that I was actually bringing the money from my pocket, but they were paying to support my principle and my personality. And that is why be known for something. Once you are known for something, people would come out to support you. Whatever you do as a youth, and you don't see a single person willing to put their money where their mouth is, then you should check your cycle. Now, come to think of it. Majority of the youth have gadgets. Some have gadgets more than 1 million. You have iPad, you have laptop,
Well, many of them
you
are
have
funded by their own
iPhone,
money.
you have iPad, you have iPhone, you have iWatch, and several others. So it is about priority. Majority of those that we call money bags, they use this phone that we call Tanas Sobe, because they prefer to invest their money in politics to get to that position than investing it in gadgets. Majority of us, even the students that are dependent on their parents, they wear clothes that their parents would not wear. And the money that they use to buy it is from their parents. So it is all about priorities and social validation. Unfortunately, majority of us, the youth, will live solely on social validation. And that is one of the negative externalities of social media.
Media.
There is no how you steal and you post it on social, say life and direct as they go and they steal, nah. Robbing things, shares, no. But you only want to post good things about
Yourself.
yourself in exchange for social validation. And that is why we snap pictures, we use AI to edit it and do stuff because we want to look good in the face of social media friends, some of which that you will never meet in life, but not looking good physically and not satisfying your own conscience. So if we must take over the social media space, we must ensure that we stop seeking for validation from outside. We should ensure that we serve our conscience and we do things that either it is accepted today or not, it will stand the test of time.
Now let's flip it to the political parties now, away from youth getting involved directly. As political parties in Nigeria, how can the youth be more engaged, not just for rallies or campaigns now? How can political parties actually, engage them beyond the rallies, the campaigns, and invite?
I'm a member of the All Progressive Congress. From my university days, I used to be a troublesome comrade, protest, do stuffs, and what have you. But you realize that it is easier said than done. The aftermath of protest, you have Jojo. So when you sit down, you realize that the intellectual depth required to negotiate governance and marshal your point. Majority of those doing blah, 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 we don't have it. The only thing we know about is just to criticize. Nah, this is bad. What should be done better? We don't pay attention. Now, party politics, what do we do? Get involved. Now, the All Progressive Congress, now, and the fact that the space is not conducive for the youth is a no-no. I was relatively in politics a nobody in 2018 when I was appointed the director of media and publicity of the Abrazak campaign organization. I was not that old in politics. But because I showed workings and I showed that, yes, I can do this. And with the support of the team, the campaign directorate, and what have you, we delivered an historic victory for the operation, which was novel in the state. So if I can do it, any other person can do it. And we should stop being scared of failure. If you fail, you are learning. Failure is not the end. You have the opportunity to stand up again and get things done. So for me, and I will be selfish here, I'm a member of the All Progressive Congress. And as we have it today, the political party that has given life to the aspiration of the youth is the APC. Unfortunately, we just concluded our electronic membership registration, and as at the last count, we had almost 12 million Nigerians that enrolled to be members of the party, and almost 8 million or thereabouts of them are youth. So the youth are in the majority. If the youth wants to take over the system with that majority, then we know what to do.
So quickly before we round up, I know you used to be a member of the SDP and now you're in the APC. And at that time you were strongly, would I say against the government at the time, which was the APC. So what would you say have changed within that time before you joined and now?
My political trajectory started with the DPP in 2007. The opposition, I was vehemently against the Saraki dynasty as it then was. So it dovetailed into supporting the ACN as a comrade in 2011. But in 2018, I officially, for the first time, joined a political party as a card-carrying member and no longer a sympathizer, and that was the APC. So
What prompted that decision?
What prompted decision was the fact that, oh, Singbe, Oniwa Kwenda. I came to the realization, do I just want to continuously lament about those things that they've done wrong, or participate and ensure that they don't do things wrong, that at the gestation stage, you contribute your know-how towards ensure that the wrong things are not done. Now, I joined, we mobilized extensively. We toured the nooks and crannies of the state and ensured that the APC came on board. Now, out of principle, I don't have permanent friends, but my ideology would never be sacrificed. I was moving from one radio station to the other in 2018, 2019, castigating the then Saraki dynasty of not conducting local government election, of not paying salaries, of lack of transparency, and what have you. So when our government came on board, I saw that, yes, things have changed, but not to the extent that was expected of a revolutionary government. So I chose to exit the party because I want to be known as someone that said something yesterday and stood by it today, and not because, yes, we are now in government and I have access. So I left, joined the SDP with like minds. After the election, the majority of Kwaran said they were still interested in the administration of the Malam Abrazak Abraman government. After the election, politics over, governance again. I was approached and say, all these things you are saying, come inside the party, come and offer your advice. Now, if it were to be about me, then I would say, before I will come, you give me appointment. I've never held any government position, but alhamdulillah, majority of those that are holding government position, they are not better off. Now, you now ask me, has things changed? Things that made me to temporarily exit the APC, has it changed? The answer is yes. When the government came on board, one of the major issues was the local government administration, where we have a TIC, which is unknown to law. When we came back, the government has conducted local government election. The level of infrastructure, especially in the state capital and across board, has improved. The level of transparency has improved. Now, are we there? We are not there yet. But can we do better? Yes, we can do better. But definitely we are not where we used to be. And that is why some of us are agitating that now that we are closer to the 2027 elections, we must not go back to where we used to be. And we must not stay stagnant. We must be forward looking and ensure that we bring on board a governor that will consolidate the achievements of the present administration, that will correct some of the lapses and ensure that we sustain the principle, vision, and mission that made Kwara State Otoge in 2019?
Safe to say that you are actually very pleased with the performance of the current governor. Safe to say, right?
Well, pleased is subjective.
Okay.
But compared to where we used to be, I'm damn happy with the progress we've made. But definitely we can achieve way more.
Okay, in 30 seconds, I just want you to give your final words to the young people watching, as this episode is all about the young people and their political participation.
My parting word is we should stop being bystanders. We should stop being cheerleaders. Join political parties, mobilize. Democracy is all about the majority. Mobilize, ensure you have the majority, queue behind your idea, and ensure that you don't only support, but you put yourself forward to be supported.
Thank you so much, comrade, for that. And there you have it. I hope you've been able to learn a thing or two today from this episode of Behind Reality Podcast. It's been an insightful one. And to all our young people watching, this is a time for you to get involved. Enough of bystanding and cheerleading. It's time for us to roll up our sleeves and actually become a part of the change that we truly desire. My name is Betty Doe, and it's been my utmost pleasure being your host on this episode. Till I come your way again, stay safe, stay positive, stay happy, and stay actively involved in politics. Bye for now.
What?